Improv comedy is a live high-wire act. The veterans of the trade say the best way to survive it is to always say yes to what your partner says. Keep the bit going just by going with it. And that ethos is what has sustained the Upright Citizens Brigade. It's an improv troupe that has always been one of the best tickets in New York, while supplying this nation with badly needed and insanely talented young comedians. Willie Geist went to visit the folks who are so good at what they do that it's hard to believe they're just making it up.
Big American comedy is born inside this small, gritty theater in New York's East Village.
The orgy's still on for tonight.
An edgy improv troupe taking center stage on this night. You may not recognize the faces of the Upright Citizens Brigade, but its influence is everywhere you look. On TV.
Are you guys ready to hear from the Dunder Mifflin business experts?
Online.
You don't have to raise your voice.
And at the movies.
I don't know where to get her. She's gonna be 88.
Get her a coffin.
Do you mind if I take a look? I'm actually a doctor.
Yeah, you said that several times last night, but really, you're just a dentist.
I can give people their first hit of crack in terms of improv.
So we want to be known as comedy drug pushers. UCB is comedy drug pushers.
Matt Walsh and Amy Poehler. Yes, that Amy Poehler. They got the UCB up and rolling in Chicago in the mid-90s, along with friends Matt Besser and Ian Roberts.
Look at the screen, you dumb monkeys.
They were an insurgent group with a unique style. Their skits were long runs of outlandish improv that pushed the limits of comedy and sanity.
This is my friend Bleached Cow Skull.
Been described as alternative, absurdist, collaborative, smart, and weird. What makes it different than other improv?
Well, that's nice. Those 5 words aren't bad. I didn't know what you were going to say.
I totally cherry-picked them. There were a ton of terrible ones.
I was going to say.
Struggling in a town dominated by the legendary comedy shop Second City, Poehler and the rest of the UCB4 decided if they were going to make it, they'd have to head to New York and start improvising. Their stage was off in the street, where they filmed themselves pulling public pranks, like this one, where Santa tries to sell booze outside a toy store.
Would you like a shot?
Not everyone was in on the jokes.
Oh, they would not lack up Santa Claus.
Yeah, I think they would.
We would just kind of wander the streets with a megaphone and invite people to our shows. We got a lot of weirdos in our shows and very small audiences.
Did you ever walk out on stage and go, oh my gosh, there are 3 people here right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'd tell our parents to go back to their hotel, and then we'd tell the weird guy from Washington Square Park to go home.
They continued playing regular free shows for anybody who would watch, hoping to be discovered.
It was very taped seats that had the word HBO on it that we would just be waiting for them to arrive.
Yep.
Why are you laughing?
HBO executives didn't come, but in 1998, Comedy Central saw something unique. They gave Besser, Walsh, Roberts, and Poehler their dream of a TV show called, what else? Upright Citizens Brigade.
Both the restaurant and the food is computer generated.
It lasted 3 seasons and remains a cult favorite.
I'm not even here.
What was that?
That was just enough success for the group to finally afford a club of its own, though it did come with a checkered past.
We found a strip club, or a burlesque club,
Yes.
not technically a strip club, that was on
Classier.
little classier, mixed with comedy and probably some monologues.
The idea that once you took over that theater, there were still some sketchy old guys who would wander in
Yeah.
looking for something else besides long-form improv.
They would tighten up the belt on their raincoat and then tip their hat and say good day.
As UCB's popularity soared, the core group began to feel the pull of bigger fame.
I think the toughest moment is when they offered you James Bond.
Oh my gosh.
They had called me, and Ian Fleming, I think, was still alive, and he's like, Walsh, you're Bond. And I'm like, we have a show, it's $5 a person, and there's 13 reservations. I don't know if I can get away. So I passed.
Okay, so maybe James Bond didn't call, but for Poehler, Lorne Michaels did. Poehler's 8 seasons on Saturday Night Live made her one of comedy's biggest names. Today, she has her own show, Parks and Rec.
Please, I beg of you, will you just shut your beautiful pie hole?
She and her partners weren't the only ones to break out, though. UCB performers like Rob Corddry, Donald Glover, Horatio Sanz, and Ed Helms started to find their way onto shows like The Office and into the writers' rooms of The Daily Show, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, and Ellen. Poehler and the rest of the UCB4 stay true to their comic roots, dropping in occasionally on shows to keep an eye on the future.
It's a place where you can go for a very little amount of money and see someone who 5 years from now will be a big star.
Yeah.
Like the stars of tomorrow.
Perhaps someone like Shashir Zamata.
There is like a formula you kind of want to hit.
She is one of the 30,000 people who've taken classes from the Upright Citizens Brigade. The group runs teaching centers and theaters in both New York and Los Angeles.
Please welcome Shashir Zamata.
Zamata took the stage at the recent opening of a second UCB theater in New York.
Comedy's tough, I don't have to tell you that. For every Amy Poehler, there are 1,000 people struggling to make it in the clubs.
Oh, definitely.
Do you have an idea in your head, if I don't make it, so to speak, by age X, maybe I'm going to law school or something?
My stepmom actually asked me that a while ago. She's like, yeah.
She told me to ask you again.
Oh, God, can you tell her to stop calling?
But I love those.
From these small classrooms and stages, the UCB influence has spread to the biggest screens in comedy.
I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world.
The movie Anchorman was directed by alum Adam McKay, who says the absurdist Upright Citizens Brigade spirit is captured in this fight scene.
Oh, I did not see that coming. Let's get in that tower, shall we?
With its fingerprints now all over American comedy, the UCB is indeed a long way from those early days of begging people to come in and see a show for free.
This is home for all of you guys.
It's like a clubhouse, and when you walk in, this really feels really special.
Don't cry. Don't cry. Ian.
Yeah, this is not that
He's
kind of
trying
interview.
to get you to cry.
Okay.
It's a classic interview. Oh no,
Guys,
you got her
keep
to
rolling,
cry.
guys, keep rolling.
Okay, it's a community of people. Home is where the
real.
heart is.
This is
Home is
real.
where the heart is.
You're a horrible actress.
Thank you. I'd like you to think that, and I did.
You just called Amy Poehler a horrible actress, so good
She
on you.
agreed.
I suppose, I'm sitting here thinking, I suppose their danger is expanding the brand too much like a franchise. But at the same time, and I'm not acting as their Chamber of Commerce, as you know, especially on Sunday nights, you can pay your ticket. It's like a secret. You can go see Jack McBrayer and Amy and Horatio Sanz along with the next brilliant young people.
The reach of UCB has gone so far into so many shows and movies that we're all familiar with now that the family is so large they come back to the theaters. And that's the point Amy made in the piece where she said, you can pay $5 or whatever it is, come into a theater, you laugh, you might see some new talent, but maybe Will Ferrell shows up that night. In fact, Shashir Zamata, who we had in the piece, that night shared the stage ever so briefly, but did share the stage with her hero, Amy Poehler.
Wow. Did you have fun?
It's a blast.
It's fantastic.
It's a blast. It's a good place to be. And they think about the expansion thing. They're only in New York and LA. They don't want to become Arby's and pop up in every town.
Nothing wrong with Arby's, Willie. Willie Geist, ladies and gentlemen, thanks. And Willie's piece, by the way, you saw the snippet of one of the very popular classes they hold at the Upright Citizens Brigade. You can see more of that class on our website, RockCenterNBC.com. We have a lot more to come here on Rock Center this evening. When we come back, Kate Snow with a special investigation into what happens to some students from overseas who came here to study and learn and grow.
The State Department, through their mismanagement of the program, they essentially are looking the other way. They're in denial about how much of it actually goes on.